It is when one of my clients asked me this question. You talked about trauma bonding with a person. How you get trauma bonded, how a victim gets trauma bonded with a narcissist. But what about a narcissist getting trauma bonded with a victim? Is that a possibility? So I gave it a thought, and this is what I came up with. So in the beginning of the relationship, the narcissist idealizes you, but at the same time, they create this ideal snapshot of yours in their head. Okay, this snapshot says you're perfect, you're flawless, you are a doormat, you have no voice, you do what they want you to do, you're the most charismatic person or the beautiful person or whatever it is they saw you as or idealized you as. They believe their idealization when they do it. But as time goes, because this is extreme perfection, which they have not been able to match up to in their life, so it was projected on you, quite unconscious. But as time passes and control begins, the high that they got from gaining the control over you and winning you like a trophy, it reduces and things start getting boring because the potential they have hit to feel excited is quite high. Their nervous system works differently. Maybe for some other time it reduces, and the things that now happen in the relationship are not so interesting. The potential level is not hit. It gets boring. The reality hits because you're a human being. Of course you would have normal flaws. You would not be perfect. There's no such thing as perfect. Nothing is perfect, of course, that we all know, but in their head they are quite black and white. Either something is perfect or it is a piece of trash. So when all of these things happen, the reality looks like a mismatch to what they had perceived, what they had created in their head. That is what triggers the devaluation and this compartmentalization. You are either all good or you're bad. So when they devalue you, you try more, you fix it more, you give it more. It's their dissonance. You become the good version again. You are in their good terms again. If you take the blame for yourself, if you let them walk over you, you become this nice idealized version that they had imagined you as, and they treat you well, which means their own supply is getting fed here. The slight mistake, you become the monster. They become the victim. And they need your attention. They need your validation. They need your admiration and adoration. Even though they don't say it, they don't want you to know, they need it. That is what they survive on. But they hate you for it. They hate the fact that they depend on you, which they don't want to acknowledge. That is what their trauma bond is. That is what they keep coming back to. This is what keeps them in this loop. Good and bad, good and bad. She is good or he is good. She is a piece of trash. I need to throw her away. Which is why the cheating starts happening. And other people are in the loop again because they try to kind of fulfill the same prophecy with different faces and ultimately fail because it's their own shadow that they don't want to deal with. They don't want to look within. It's their issue, the way they perceive people, the way they objectify people. This is their trauma bond, which they are stuck in. This black and white thinking, this absolute idealization and devaluation, and the dependency for attention, admiration, or adulation, which we collectively call as supply, the enabling that they want other people to do. So this is their trauma bond. They depend on you more than how much you depend on them. This is absolute delusion. This is quite immature, quite underdeveloped, and very primitive and unevolved way of thinking. That is what I can call it. But this is how their trauma bond looks like. This is why they many people will wonder, if a narcissist hates you so much, why don't they leave? Like, many of them don't. They don't right away discard you until they have sucked every single resource out of you, life force out of you. That is when they leave. But they don't easily. So they keep hovering back again and again because this is what keeps bringing them back. The supply they get from you, the black and white thinking, being the victim, you being the perpetrator. They want you to take the blame, make you take the blame through gaslighting and manipulation, idealize you again only to devalue you, then go back. This is their karma. This is what they're stuck in for their life. You could recognize your trauma bond. You can know what it is for you, but them, it is what they call fate because it's unconscious. They can never bring it to the surface, so they would call it fate, of course. Anyways, so this is what their trauma bond looks like, and this is what keeps them stuck in their own loop, which they never want to acknowledge.